At the end of the day, like relationships are going to be the most important thing for any type of career progression. What they appreciated is that I had a clear goal in mind.
All the phone calls you did, all of the apps you sent
Right.
out, all of the interviews you did, I mean, was it worth it? Well, what's up, y'all? Thanks for jumping on to today's episode. I've got Sahil with me. He is a former Sword client, and I love saying former because Sahil, we were able to help you get an amazing gig. Gosh, I think what 100K plus OTE, is that right?
Mhm. That's correct.
That's crazy, man. Out in the Bay. So, man, you're doing the whole tech sales thing. Like you're in the Bay, making good money, new gig. So, really excited
Hmm.
to break down kind of your journey. Let's start with where you were before Sword. Like before we even got connected, what was your career kind of like, and what made you want to make a transition into SDR specifically?
Yeah. So, I had taken a couple of years off of just trying to figure out what I was doing. I wasn't really working on anything actually. And what I needed to get back into the workforce, and I needed to find something that that resonated with me and what I could do and have a long-term career, and that would actually give me the ability to like live in the Bay Area. It's very expensive out here, and luckily, I was put in contact with you, and you provided me the sales, the curriculum and basically the tools to go, to do the job, to get the job, right? And and you just made everything like super simple, and I was able to just follow the direction basically. You laid out the direction, you gave us suggestions, and if I took them, the result was going to be in hand, right? But I had to do the
Mm.
work, and you made that very clear. So I think what you have is a very simple process. You do the process, you get the results.
Mm. Mm. And you came in with a really strong technical background. And I think, didn't you have to go through some decision making criteria of like, if I want to become a solutions architect or engineer one day,
Hmm.
what's the best way in? And is that where you landed on, well, maybe I should start entry level SDR to then eventually promote into like a more technical role?
That's correct. As we discussed, before I came on, like I applied to a bunch of jobs in the SE for an SE role, and I didn't get any interviews, right? And what they wanted to see is they wanted that sales experience, and that's why I reached out to you, to get that experience so I could eventually move into that position. And like
Mm.
in today, like the good thing is like speaking with my managers, like I made that very clear. Like we talk about this, like it's good to have that open communication, and like they know like from top to bottom, like from my manager and his boss, they know that like I'm here, I'm going to hit these numbers, and like my career progression is to be an SE, and like and we know where like what that timeline looks like.
Mm. That's a really good point for people that do accept job offers. Make sure your managers know early on what trajectory you want to be on, because then all the work you're doing, they can tie to that goal.
Hmm.
Because if we're just being very honest, like there needs to be an incentive to get out of the SDR role, right? There has to
Right.
be this like light at the end of the tunnel because SDR role is hard, but if that incentive is clear and you're aligned with your leadership, the work you do actually feels meaningful because every 2 3 months you're talking to your manager about, hey,
Hmm.
here's the steps I'm making towards this transition, and they're supportive of it. So that's a really good point. Your managers weren't thrown off at all when you said technical, because a lot of managers are expecting SDRs to want to be AEs or like managers, but it sounds like yours were like, cool, let's do it.
Yeah, they're very open to it, and they're supportive actually in the end, and they said
Yeah.
that it was the traditional route, but they're excited to see that that I was willing to do something different, that I had a different
Yeah.
goal in
I,
mind. And what they're more excited about was that I, what they appreciated is that I had a clear goal in mind, right? And if that's becoming an AE or, SE or whatever it is, because like once you're an SDR, you can branch out in a lot of things, and I've come to learn about that, whether it's marketing, sales, you can move across the organization actually. That's something I didn't know. and they do hire internally for that stuff. I mean, if you hit your numbers, right? If you do your
Yeah.
job. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah, I
basically,
think
as I
the
said, like,
way you entered Oh, my bad. I think the way you entered the market is super smart because I get people reaching out all the time like, "Hey Jack, how do I land an SE role?" And they have the certifications, they have the technical background, but they don't have the sales side. And we over focus on the technical side, but to your point, the sales side, that's the side of the equation that you can only get through experience. You can go get
mhm,
technical certifications. You can get these boot camps and these courses that teach you how to do XYZ on the engineering side. But it's the sales that like you have to have the blood, sweat, and tears behind to actually be good at sales. And so I think you're going to be way more competitive and compelling for that SE role because you're going to have the lived experience of doing sales.
mhm. And the one thing that I'm coming to understand right now is that once you're in the office, right, and you're developing your rapport with all your teammates, it's easier. It's like once you're there, right, it's easier to develop those relationships. And at the end of the day, like relationships are going to be the most important thing for any type of career progression, right? And so developing those things are key, and
Mhm.
especially when you're working with AEs or SEs, and they want like their goal at the end of the day is like you're supposed to help them boost their numbers, and they want to help you do, right. It's a two-way street, right? And so like when everyone's on the same page helping each other out, that's when the winning really happens.
Yeah. Yeah. You bring up a good point around kind of pros and cons of being in office and being from home. There are just truly pros and cons to each one. And you just have to look at your life situation for what
Mhm,
makes more sense. So, a pro of being in office, typically you're going to get paid more because they know you're in a city, they know you're commuting. The biggest pro, to your point, is you're around people. You're seeing your managers, you're
mhm,
seeing your account executives, and those relationships grow exponentially faster than in a remote
mhm.
environment. And so what I often tell people is like you can build a successful remote sales career. That's what
Right,
I did. But I did
absolutely.
first start in the office. This was pre-COVID, then COVID hit and it changed everything. But when I was
Right.
in the office, I could tell my career was going to grow even faster. So you can grow your career quickly being on a remote sales team, no question. But if you have the opportunity to work hybrid or in person, you're going to grow your career a lot faster if you're around people.
And it's also, I mean, I mean, there's, as you said, like pros and cons for sure, right? Commuting is a pretty negative con, as I'm finding out, right? That's a lot of time off your plate that you could probably, be putting towards your job, hitting your numbers, whatever it is, right? Your family. And so like I do understand. And if you're gonna hit your numbers, you're hitting your numbers, and you're gonna be promoted regardless, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, it it depends. I think I don't know how it is, but like I know in SF, like a lot of people they want you to be they prefer it if you are in office for a little bit. So that's just
Yeah.
how it is. That's
Yeah.
just what this area is like.
Yeah. And once you get enough experience on your resume and you have kind of that pedigree,
Hmm.
then, if you do decide to make an external move one day, well, now you have the resume experience. You're going to be more competitive. So
Absolutely.
it's not
Yeah.
bad for a season of life to go in office.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's um let's break down your actual job search. So
Okay.
the sword approach is do the job, you get the job. You talked about
Right.
that. What what was your first impression of kind of how we do things here? Was it a lot? Did you feel like, no, I know this is gonna work, or was there some uncertainty as to the way we approach the job search at Sword?
Of course. For me, there was uncertainty. Absolutely. I think there's fear in everything you do for the first time. That's new. Especially, calling up people that you have no clue who you don't know. I feel like, you know, it's to do that, to do that job, you have to be like somewhat of a psychopath. I don't know. It's like it's just like it's a tough thing, to face rejection and to do that continuously. Um, but the good thing is like as you said earlier, like you build out the sequences, you do the work, you're gonna get the interviews, you're gonna meet people and you're gonna talk to people and you're gonna impress them because you're doing the job to do the job, and they're gonna love that, right? And that's a great feeling once you realize that that's clicking. But there is gonna be a ton of rejection. Um, and as you said, like, you have to face rejection and move forward. And there's growth in figuring that out and learning that skill set. I'm sorry, I don't know if I answered your question.
No, you did. I think it's just helpful to understand that the baseline for most job applicants right now is LinkedIn Easy Apply. Like that's what most people are doing. And so what you're talking about is
Right.
you've got to go above and beyond. You've got to be willing to get rejected.
Yes.
You've got to be willing to do the work.
Yes.
And all the phone calls you did, all of the apps you sent
Right.
out, all of the interviews you did, I mean, was it worth it?
It was worth it. And I know that, the one thing is I saw, like, some people take a little bit longer than others. I think I was on the longer end of getting this job. Some people get in a couple a month, maybe 2 months. Mine was a little bit more like 4 or 5 months.
Mhm.
Um, but I learned a lot, and what I learned was to continue, you know,
Mm.
and I feel like that's gonna help me in this role because there's gonna be weeks or whatever that I'm gonna be down, but it's like, I didn't have these are problems I didn't have before. I didn't have a job before. Like, I was trying to get this job. It's like this is an amazing problem to have. I just have to like realize I just have to recontextualize it to understand like where was I like a couple months ago? Or, before I
Mm.
was applying or looking for jobs, like what was I doing? Didn't have a job, right? And now like I found this amazing program and I was able to like to put myself in position to get interviews. I couldn't get interviews before. Now I'm in a position to at an actual job to do something new, to grow here. And it's like I have to keep on recontextualizing and like, wow, this is amazing that like here I am. Like I got to be grateful for this. Like that's something
Here
that,
you are,
is
man.
important. Yeah.
Here you are. Congrats, bro. So
Thank you.
take us to that moment, like the job offer. What actually happened and, did they reach out and how did it make you feel in the moment?
Yeah. So ooh, I was yeah, I mean it was an amazing feeling. It was a feeling like, a little bit of weight had been lifted up. What I felt like honestly is like, oh, thankfully I don't have to apply now for jobs. But it's like the reality is like I only have 2 weeks of like or a week basically, sorry. It was only a week of like I have a week of like relaxing and then I gotta like switch it back on. I gotta go in the office really early in the morning. I have to wake up early. My entire like schedule changes up. So it's just like it was a week of relief and it was amazing that I got that like I could turn it off, but it's like there was no real for me at least. I had like it wasn't I mean I was working the next week, right? So
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
straight into it.
Yeah. Yeah, that pace
But
can
it
be
was
intense, man,
yeah,
especially, you said it was a couple months of applying and stuff. Like your perseverance was crazy. Like you did not give up. And that's what I'm most proud of you for.
appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. What would you say is one mistake you see people making in their job search that they should stop doing today?
I think so I don't know about other people, but I can speak from my perspective. A couple of mistakes that I made, I think we both know that I had a pretty successful interview. I was almost final rounds with a company at uh, Plaid, and I took some time off because I was a little bit down, um, more time than I probably should have, and during that time, like, I let a couple good interviews that I had lined up go, and like, but I really learned from that moment actually, which is kind of funny. And that actually, yeah, Whatever- I think, I mean, the key to this is to continue, right? The key to this is to not give up. And I gave up for a little bit right there. Luckily, I was able to get back in.
Hmm.
That's just that's a personal story.
Yeah, I think it's helpful because, for example, if you knew you had to run a marathon, which is what, like 24 miles, I think.
Right. Mm,
24? Is that right? Do you know?
I have no clue.
26?
I'm just agreeing with you.
26.2, I think that's what it is. 26.2. If you had to run a marathon, you
Right.
you have to run 26.2 miles. There's no like if you want to run a marathon, you can't run 12 miles and be done. You can't run 17 miles. You can't run 19.8 miles. You
Hmm.
have to run 26.2 miles to run a marathon. And so I think it's in that vein of like if you are going to commit to getting into tech sales, you have to be willing to run until the race is over. And it's okay to your point, Sahil, if you need a break because that rejection was, that hurt, whatever. But the sooner
Right.
you get back on the racetrack, the faster you're going to run the next mile and the next mile and the
Hmm.
next mile until you're at the finish line. And so I think that's a
Hmm.
good note around finishing the race, no matter what. Finish the race.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Talk to me about what this job is actually going to do for your life. Like, how is this going to change your life?
Yeah, it's a great question. Right now I can tell you one thing. I wake up in the morning and I feel like I have a sense of purpose. It's a feeling, but it's like I'm moving in the right direction in my life. And I know that probably is not going to mean much for other people, but like to me, for someone who didn't have a job for 2 years, it seemed like my life was really stale. Now, what's gonna be a result of getting, the paycheck and the money and like, probably the career promotion is I'm gonna be able to like hopefully move out of my parents' place, get an apartment, have my own place, start my own family, like all those things that I didn't like, well, I was unable to see that future. And now that future it's in vision, I would say. I just got to continue doing what I'm doing.
I gotcha. I think we were just having a little bit of lag there, but I heard all of it. So
Yeah.
your future is moving forward is essentially what I
Right.
gathered from that. Yeah. Yeah, and I know, when you get stuck in life, everything feels so I won't say dark, but there's no like light at the end of the tunnel. There's no like when are things going to really change? And I think
Hmm.
what you've stepped into is a vehicle that's going to allow you to go wherever you want in life now. Like your life, Sahil, gets to look like whatever you want it to look like now. You have the
Right.
capacity to do that now.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Dude, I really appreciate you just not giving up, being willing to commit to the work and to see the fruit of your labor. Like not everyone lands a job like this, man. That's a testament to you, your work ethic and not giving up. And so, thank you for the opportunity to work with you and allow you to help you with this. Anything else you want to share? Any words of encouragement for the audience?
Um, you know, I want to thank you too, Jack, for, giving me the foundation to build upon. I think that's critical in the direction and the guidance. And you stuck with me by, through all my failure. There was one success, but under that success, there was like 99% failure behind that. Um, and so like I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Of course, man. Of course. Well, guys, appreciate you hanging out with us. Sahil is going to go break records at his company and get promoted, and he'll be an SE, and we'll never hear from him again because he's going to get all technical on us. But I just want to encourage you guys if you need help breaking into tech, just like Sahil, there's going to be two links below. One is to meet with my team. We'll meet with you, look at your background, see if we can help you or not. And the second one is to join the free breaking into tech sales community. So either way, we got your back. Sahil, thank you so much for your time today, man.
Thank you. Thank you, Jack.